Government reaffirms commitment to provide affordable housing for Grenadians. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Monday, April 19th, 2021, I am Abigail McIntyre. Government has reiterated its commitment to provide affordable housing for Grenadians. A ribbon-cutting ceremony was held on Friday at the Chinese Low-Income Housing Project in Diamond, St. Mark. It is one of 5 sites in Phase 2 of the project, under which 647 units will be constructed. Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell said the project further demonstrates the strength of the relationship between Grenada and the People's Republic of China. It is further evidence that Grenada is on the right track with the One China policy.
We have always said our role in government is about building up our people, improving the life of the people of the country. So when you talk about the quality of life of our people, you have to talk about the delivery of social services as a factor. Because in every country, there are poverty. There are people who need government support.
Minister for Housing, Honorable Delma Thomas, says government remains committed to its promise to ensure that low-income families can afford a comfortable home.
While we are speaking about the Chinese housing here today, and while we are in COVID and government is raising less revenue, we are committed as a government and we continue to provide support for housing assistance for many needy families across the Tri-Island state of Grenada, Carriacou, and PD Martinique. We also launched an initiative of providing in-house bathroom and toilet for needy families, even in this time of pandemic when government revenue is very low. We are committed to providing and working along with the very poor and vulnerable persons of our Tri-Island state of Grenada, Carriacou, and PD Martinique.
Parliamentary representative for the constituency, the Honorable Dr. Clarice Modeste Kerwin, says it is the belief of her government that adequate housing is one of the greatest needs, not only in her constituency.
Great efforts have been made to satisfy that need, and we have accomplished quite a lot. And still we see the needs. But this 130 units would take us a long way to satisfying the needs in this community. You would have to pay quite a lot to live on the mountaintop and to see the view of the sea, to have the rivers nearby, to be so close to nature. But our government, and of course, through the partnership and the generosity of the People's Republic of China, we have made that possible. And I want to thank you very much, Ambassador Wei, and please convey our deepest appreciation in that regard.
Resident Chinese ambassador, His Excellency Wei Hongxing, says it feels good to know that families will be made more comfortable, especially during these challenging times.
With the completion of St. Patrick site in November last year, and now St. Mark site, we are expecting the other 3 sites in Carriacou, St. David, and Bézéjour to be completed respectively in the coming months. Dr. The Right Honorable Prime Minister, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused severe impacts on the entire world, and both China and Grenada are facing unprecedented challenges and difficulties. Today's progress does not come easy. The Phase 2 housing project feels the impact of COVID-19 as well. Construction work was once suspended and shipment of materials were delayed because of the outbreak of the deadly virus last year.
Grenada has joined forces with the regional security system to assist St. Vincent and the Grenadines, whose residents continue to face the threat of the La Soufrière volcano. 10 officers, 2 sergeants, 2 corporals, and 6 constables were deployed to St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Sunday via the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force Coast Guard. Superintendent Vanny Cohen, head of the RGPF's Community Relations Department, says once there is a need for security, the deployment efforts will continue. He spoke with GIS about the roles and responsibilities of the officers.
8 of these officers will be deployed directly to the RSS Response Security Force, while 2 of the officers will augment the CDMA, Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency. This deployment is on a rotational basis. They will be rotated every 3 weeks. So they are in St. Vincent for 3 weeks, and at the end of these 3 weeks, another set of officers, another team, another deployment will be made, giving everybody an opportunity to serve for as long as we need to be there. While in St. Vincent, there are various roles and responsibilities that they are expected to take on. Currently, as I speak, there is not much of a security challenge in St. Vincent, but in every situation, in every chaotic situation, we do expect security challenges. And the RSS is preempting that there likely will be such challenges. And so, we are going ahead of time to ensure that whatever likely to come, we are well positioned to be able to defer those challenges.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
COVID-19 spreads from person to person through the droplets that are produced when someone coughs or sneezes, which makes it easy to spread between people in close contact. Now let's get prepared to stay healthy.
To reduce your chance of catching or spreading COVID-19, practice these simple everyday preventative measures. Droplets can also land on surfaces, so ensure that you wash your hands frequently for a minimum of 20 seconds or sing the happy birthday song twice. Avoid touching your face, especially your eyes, nose, and mouth. If soap and water are not readily available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with an alcohol content between 60 and 90%. 70% is ideal.
When you cough or sneeze, cover your nose and mouth with a flexed elbow or a tissue. Dispose of the tissue immediately and then wash your hands. If you notice someone has a fever and cough or other symptoms of respiratory illness, avoid close contact when possible. Let's all do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. Our health is our collective responsibility.
Welcome back. Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honourable Keith Mitchell has welcomed the planned return of St. George's University SGU students for the upcoming semester. The True Blue-based university has announced that it will welcome back all students in the School of Medicine, School of Veterinary Medicine, School of Arts and Sciences, and School of Graduate Studies for in-person learning on campus for the August 2021 term. Dr. Mitchell, who held the post of Finance Minister for several years, said SGU's return will be a significant boost for the local economy. He said SGU accounts for a major part of the country's GDP. The return of students and the resumption of full-scale on-campus operations will therefore significantly boost economic activity in the country. The university's existence has also created a need for many ancillary services, so its return to operation will similarly spur activity in the services sector. The repatriation of SGU students last year at the start of the pandemic significantly impacted the accommodation sector, the farming community, and supermarket operations, among other areas. The Prime Minister said the return of students will bring welcomed relief to affected persons. I have personally heard the complaints from property owners, business operators, farmers, and many others who felt the brunt of the impact impact of the departure of students. Quite understandably, for some, their entire livelihood depended on the services they provided to the SGU community, and therefore the financial impact was significant. It will certainly be a relief to them to have the students return, he said. Grenada and Cuba have committed to further strengthening the ties that bind the people of both countries. The commitment came during a ceremony to mark 42 years of diplomatic relations between both countries, having established diplomatic ties in April 1979. Cuba has assisted in Grenada's development in the construction of this country's international airport, expansion of the General Hospital, health, and in education. Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell said Grenada remains committed to its long-standing relationship with Cuba and looks forward to continued diplomatic relations that will benefit both countries. He also made reference to the late President Fidel Castro, who he said believed in lending assistance to develop the Caribbean region.
Here is a man who was not just somebody who was about government and politics, but was a human being who cared deeply about people and the sacrifices that he was making for the Cuban people was not seen just for the Cuban people, but he saw it as for human beings, period. And I remember him saying to me, the sacrifices of the Cuban people for medical professionals and so on, for third world country, the Caribbean, Latin America. His vision was that when they reach back home, they will not join the rat race of materialism, but they would help to use that contribution and education to help develop their society and to lift the lives of the poor people in the individual countries. And I think it's something that we need to remind all our friends, brothers and sisters who have got the support of the Cuban government and people, because at the time Cuba was they will continue to make sacrifices in probably the worst time.
Cuban Ambassador Areda de la Caridad Guerrero reiterated her government's commitment to the people of Grenada, reminiscing on the cherished memories and accomplishments shared to date.
Our relation is based on the principle 1. Mutual respect, solidarity, no intervention in internal affairs, cooperation and collaboration, and also commitment. This is why Cuba and Grenada have an excellent relationship. We can mention several examples of the bilateral cooperation in different areas, such as education, culture, agroindustry, among others. But we are sure that the majority of Grenadians remember our modest contribution in the construction of the international airport in Point Salin, now the Maurice Bicho International Airport. It will forever be a symbol of friendship among our peoples.
And that story brings us to the end of the National Report for today, Monday, April 19th, 2021. To recap the top story, government reaffirms commitment to provide affordable housing for Grenadians. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Abigail McIntyre. Thank you for joining us.